Hello, this is Music Tech Help Guy, and welcome to episode 8 of my Alchemy tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you guys to working with samples in Alchemy. One of the things that Alchemy can do is all 4 of the sources, instead of loading different VAs like we've done before, loading different waveforms, you can actually load in an audio file. Now, we're not going to get too deep into this in this video. In the next video, we'll actually start working with the sample editor because it's really deep. Alchemy's sampling capabilities are very, very deep. It's almost like having the entire EXS24 within Alchemy. So it's very, very deep. I'm just going to show you how to work with single samples on each of the sources today. And we're going to specifically use drum samples to create some cool sort of percussive drum loop grooves. So just to give you an idea of something that you can do with this, I made one in advance. I called it Cheesy 80s Dance Beat. Sounds like this. And I mean, that's pretty much what it sounds like. It sounds like something off of Revenge of the Nerds or something. Another one I created in advance, I called it War Drums. Just uses drum samples, doesn't use any synthesizers. It sounds like this. So the cool thing about these sequences is you can play with real drum samples, and it's a little bit cooler than like using like drum loops for rhythmic ideas, because you can change the tempo. So I want to go faster, and it's not going to affect the quality of the loop really, because you're just increasing or decreasing the playback speed of the sequencer. You're not actually affecting or stretching or compressing the loop. So you get a little bit higher quality time change. So let's just start from scratch, and I'll show you how to do this. It's pretty easy. First, I'm just going to go to File, Clear, to reset this back to the default setting, which is just a sawtooth. What I'm going to do is, on my very first source, I'm going to click import, click on it, and then click import audio. And this is going to bring up just a browser where you can browse your computer for samples. I have a separate hard drive, a second hard drive in my computer where I store all my sessions and stuff. I'm going to go into my audio folder and go into my sample library. And I'm going to go to drums. I have this EDM kick pack that I bought, and I'm going to find a kick drum that I like. And it automatically, plays you the file. Let's see here. Kind of like that one. So you double click on it, adds it in. One thing I forgot to mention there is you can also hit import to import it in instead of double clicking. There's a few different analysis modes down here. Right now, just leave it where it's at. It's not really going to matter at this point because we're not really dealing with any of these editors yet. So just leave that stuff alone for now. So I've got a kick here. And the thing about having the kick drum mapped to the keyboard the way it is now is it's key scaled. So it's going to play higher or lower depending on how high or low you play on the keys. That's not really what That's not really what I want. I want the kick drum to be the same pitch no matter where I play on the keyboard. So what you do is you go to key scale here and you turn this off. Another thing we're going to do, since this is a drum sample, is I'm going to go back to the VA screen here while I have source A up. And actually, oops, sorry, it's under global. And we're going to go to voice A. And we're going to make this monophonic, basically one voice. The other thing we want to do is we want to make the mode re-trigger. So that means when I play keys that are overlapping, it still re-triggers the note. If you have always on, it won't always re-trigger the key. So if the keys overlap, your keystrokes overlap, it won't repeat the note. So we want to do that. So now I basically just have a kick drum across the whole keyboard. No matter where I play on the keyboard, I'm going to get the same note. So let's do something rhythmically with our kick drum now. So what we can do is we go down to our arpeggiator here. Go to just voice A. We don't want to sequence everything. We want to arpeggiate just voice A. Now you're thinking, arpeggiate a kick drum? How the heck do you do that? Well, we're really just sequencing the velocity of the kick drum. It's not going to move up or down. The only thing that's going to move up or down is the velocity or the volume of it. So I'm going to turn the mode on. It doesn't really matter what mode is on because there is really no up and down here with one note. So I'm just going to turn the mode up. And when I hold a key, you're going to see that we're going to get multiple strokes or multiple triggers of the sample. One sample for each step in the sequencer, in the arpeggiator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on 16th notes. And I'm going to build a pattern. And I'm going to start with just the lighter orange ones, which are just the downbeats, basically. Let's go a little slower. I don't want to go 120 or 160. Let's go 128. There we go. Now that could get kind of boring, so let's maybe vary it a little bit more. Let's extend the range of the sequencer, the arpeggiator here, to 32 steps. Cool. So we got our kick idea. Let's move on to the next instrument. Let's load in a snare. So I'm going to go back to my media drive. And by the way, while I'm finding this, I just wanted to say I'm sorry I haven't put out a video in so long. It's been over a month. Really, the real reason is I was sick. I had actually, let me find one of these first before I start talking. Kind of like that one. But yeah, I had a cold for like 2 weeks, and that turned into bronchitis, and I ended up having bronchitis for over a month. So I'm finally recovered from that and back on the horse and ready to make some more videos. All right, so I got my snare drum. We're going to do the same thing with the snare drum that we did with the kick. We are going to turn off the key scaling. We are going to go to global. We're going to go to voice B. We're going to make it monophonic, and we're going to turn on re-trigger. So now we can go to the arpeggiator, go to voice B, which is the snare drum, and we're only going to hear the snare drum once right now until we turn the sequencer on. Obviously, I don't want the snare drum every single time, so let's just put it on sort of like the upbeats. There we go. And again, I'll extend this out just so I can do some different things with it here. Cool, we'll do that. Next, let's throw in a hi-hat. I think in my drum library, let's see, I have, it's going to be under here. It's going to be under loops. There we go. Even though it's not technically a loop. Cymbals and hi-hats. Yeah, let's just use that one. Same thing. With our hi-hat, let's turn off the key scaling, go to global, go to voice C now, make it monophonic, make the mode re-trigger. go down to our arpeggiator, go to voice C or source C, turn on the arpeggiator. Let's make the rate 16th notes instead. Sounds kind of cheesy. Let's do something else with it. First, what I want to do is sort of like a galloping thing. It's like a tut, tick a tut, tick a tut. So let's do that. And also sort of like the length of the hi-hat's a little too long for my taste. Sounds a little bit too open. I want it more closed. So I'm going to right click on the volume of the hi-hat. I'm going to modulate it with an envelope. So say new AHDSR. And we'll pull down the sustain here. Just pull up the volume overall though. And I'm also going to use the filter here to scoop out the low end a bit. Cool. Awesome. So let's add one more sound in here, but this one's, I'll make it like a synthesizer. I'll make it a wave-based sound rather than a drum, just so we can have something else in there for chords or an arpeggio or something like that. So let's just let's use the let's use drive edge. Let's see what that sounds like. And just for now, I'm going to turn off the drum sequence and just work with the drive edge. Actually, I don't really like that one. Something a little softer. Let's pull in our low pass filter. Scoop out some of the highs there. Let's pull up the number of voices. Detune it. I'm also going to take the whole thing and bump it down an octave. Or like a bass. And then what we'll do is let's go ahead and actually let's arpeggiate D as well. But this time, because it's like an actual, a waveform, it's an actual synth, the pitch will actually move up and down. Well, if I play chords at least. Let's go 16th. Let's go 2 octaves. Let's shorten the length of the notes as well. Let's sort of do like this. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, let's just make the first note louder. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and clear that. We'll set it back to what it was before. That's just fine. What I am going to play with, though, in this is I'm going to play with the pan. So I'm going to make the... hear that? So we're going to do that just to make the notes jump around a bit. There we go. That's cool. And actually, let's do the same thing with the hi-hat too. Let's go to the hi-hat. The hi-hat's arpeggiator. And we already did this to velocity. Let's play with the pan. Yeah, where's the next one? 7, 8, and 9. Step 7, 8, and 9. That's really cool. So let's throw in everything. Let's pull in all the drums. and then pull in our synthesizer. Let's maybe not make the the pan on the arpeggio quite as much. Just a bit too much. Now let's make this up and down instead. Cool. Now, the other thing we can do with this, it's kind of dry. Let's add effects to each of the drums. Remember, the way effects work individually on individual sources is a little bit weird in Alchemy. If you go to the effects tab, we can add on the main, let's just add a little bit of reverb to everything. That's pretty simple to do. Let's just go convolution reverb. Let's add a little bit of like a plate reverb. I mean, not so much. Cool, that's cool. But let's say like on just my hi-hat, maybe just on the hi-hat, I wanted like a delay. What you have to do is you go to the effects send and you tell it to go to whatever filter it's going to, that's F1 or F2, and then what effects bus it's going to after the filter. So on all of these, they're pretty much all going to filter 1. So we'll just say, go to filter 1, then effects bus A. So then you come down to effects bus A, and you turn on what effect you want to hear. So we'll turn the delay on. Let's make this a, oh, and you get to pull the amount up too. So now we're hearing our delay there. Let's make our delay 8th note delay. Let's turn the filters on too. Let's make them bandpass filters. Scoop out some of the highs and the lows. Pull the feedback up to hear more of it. And you know, let's go ahead and make this a quarter note. Let's make this a dotted quarter. There we go. And that's just going to give us just a little bit more ambience in that hi-hat. Let's really pull that up. There we go. So this sort of little echoing thing in the back there. In the snare drum, let's give the snare just like a real hard sort of like a reverb or something on it. So let's go to the effects send. We'll go filter 1 effects B. So go down to the effects bus B. Turn on whatever reverb we want. Let's use a classic reverb. Let's try that out. Let's try a preset here. Echo chamber. A little too much for my taste. Let's try this small bright room. And let's also scoop some of the low end out of this. Let's put the reverb second. There we go. And yeah, let's scoop some of the low end out. Pull up some of the highs. And then on the kick drum, again, we'll just affect it as well. We'll go to filter 1, effect C. And this I just want to sort of do like a bass boost and pull up the high end a little bit. So we'll use the 3-band here. And then last but not least is our little synthesizer here. We're going to go to filter 1, effects D, go to effects D. And on this I want to do two things. I want to use a phaser. Let's make it real slow. Let's sync it. We'll make it like a 4-bar phaser. And then I'm also going to add a delay to this as well. Yeah, that's cool. So now all together, let's go lower. So there you go. It's real cool. So again, that's just the basics of sampling, and we're really just using drum samples, only using one sample per source. Now, keep in mind, there is a way to load in multiple samples per source and work within the sample editor, but we'll get to that in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.